So at the beginning of this month, I was in Portland, Oregon. I was invited up by my good friend to play guitar on his album. I'm very excited to be a small part of that experience. I've got a video in the works about going up and doing that. It's my first time ever in a recording studio and actually playing on an album. But I figured while I was up there, I would reach out to a fantastic music store that I had been to on a previous trip. It's called Strum, to see if they'd be interested in doing an interview and giving a tour of the facility. And Michael from Strum, the owner, operator, founder, took me up on that offer, and we had a great conversation. But before we get into the video, all of the details for Strum are going to be in the description box below. If you're in the Portland area, definitely check them out. They've got a lot of great stuff. They're a very friendly group of people who are very knowledgeable about all things music. And if you're not in the area but want to check out what they've got, check out the website, everything like that. Again, all linked in the description box below. And without further ado, here is my interview with Michael of Strum.
We have a nice, not intentional security feature, which is because I am 6'5", the top row of things is pretty high for a lot of people to grab. So we may
6'5" friendly, but security
so
for everyone else.
It kind of keeps it out of reach of the people that maybe should ask for help before they grab them anyway. So it works out well. It wasn't designed that way, but it works out well.
So, for those who may not be familiar with Strum, you guys are a music retailer, but you're also a bar. Can you speak a little bit about the ethos and sort of the idea, where that idea came from?
My idea was not only like trying to create a space that felt comfortable and encouraged people to hang out, gave them a reason to hang out, even if you don't like the guitars. You can come here and you can have a beer and you'll hang out, and it just becomes background art for you if you don't play and you don't care about it. If you do play, then you've had a couple beers, and alcohol can have a very pleasant effect on your your social inhibitions and restrictions, and sometimes people will make purchases after they get a little bit settled in and comfortable and have had a couple beers.
But that extra little bit of courage to pull it.
yeah, for sure. But really just overall trying to do something different and unique and comfortable, and a space that feels like it has something happening inside of it, and it's interesting and a happy place to be for a lot of people, versus just guitars hanging on slat wall hooks, as many as they can squeeze in. This was always, or originally I should say, intended to be just a bar space, but I've sort of, through the course of retailing, ended up with too many pedals, and I don't have enough cases for them. So I started with one pedal case, and I filled that up. I added a second pedal case, I filled that up, third, filled it up, and then I still have runoff into the bar area here. In fact, usually there's more stuff than I even have out in the bar, just because at some point it just
There's no bar.
There's no bar left. It's not practical, really.
Can you tell me a bit about the gear you guys carry here? Are you strictly used gear, or do you typically lean into more vintage things?
It's a lot of that vibe. I wouldn't describe it. We're not strictly vintage for sure. I wouldn't describe it that way, but we love to lean into that when we can get our hands on it, and also overall I would say just domestically made instruments, domestically made gear. I've been a guitar player for most of my life. I think I started when I was 15 or 16 is when I started getting kind of serious about it, and I just always loved the stuff, loved tinkering with the stuff, taking it apart, figuring out how it worked, putting it back together, breaking it, ruining guitars, stripping guitars, refinishing guitars. Always just very enthusiastic or passionate about just sort of being around the stuff, and playing as well. I grew up playing in bands. In my 30s and my 40s, we did touring and recording stuff out of Chicago with some bands, and and had a lot of fun with that. It wasn't a very sustainable model or career for me, but I always liked the stuff. I was always very interested. It was always sort of trading out guitars and trading amps, and I wanted to hear what stuff sounds like. I wanted to learn what it feels like. You know, what does a 50s Telecaster feel like? I was always, you know, sort of chasing something down and trying to sort of learn more about it. This, I guess, sort of is a continuation of that. You know, that just sort of enthusiasm and passion for being around it, and it's an excuse for me to kind of get my hands on it and keep my hands on it every day.
The tree with the lights, is there like a special meaning to that, or is it just like an idea that you had, or?
It was always in my mind that it would be a cool thing to have. It was a Craigslist story where somebody, if you can find anything on Craigslist. So
used trees.
Sort of. I mean, it was a guy, and he basically he posted. He said, you know, I've got this tree in my yard, and he wanted us to pull it out by the roots. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'll cut it as low as I can. But it was just literally my wife and I. We went there with a U-Haul truck and a saw. You know, for me, I think it just really, it adds a character to the space.
Yeah, your eyes immediately drawn to it when you come in. It's definitely like a statement piece.
It is. It definitely contributes. You know, when we have shows, usually we'll turn the lights everywhere in the room down very, very low, except for the tree in the background. So it's definitely, it's a major sort of character and identifier of us at this point. So I wouldn't want to be without it again.
What other services does Strum offer?
We do repair work here, and we're also an event space. We've been lucky enough to have a lot of, you know, really interesting and cool, you know, guitar players and musicians come through, like Jim Campolongo, Ariel Posen, Red Volkert. We've had some pretty cool shows in here from Thomas Stinson from Guns N' Roses and Replacements. We've had Lou Barlow from Dinosaur Jr.
Speaking of events, are there any other kind of like community building things that Strum takes part in, or is like part of?
We've done some cool community stuff, you know, giving away instruments for different things. We've done some stuff with Dornbecker, which is a children's hospital here in town, where we did a drive for gathering instruments that would then be donated to patients at Dornbecker. We've done some things like that.
That's wonderful.
There's another program. It's called Guitarist for Kids, and it's sponsored by Fender. And we've hosted some events where you know, they've raffled or given away, you know, instruments to people. About 2 or 3 times a year, we host community events for Music Portland, which is a great organization that advocates for you know, musicians and healthcare for musicians, and just sort of community music-based you know, sounding board events where we're just, you know, filled a room with people of all sort of walks in the music community here. And so, I mean, in as much as we can, we do try to, you know, reserve spaces in our schedule for positive, like, community building events too.
So what's next for you in Strum?
We're going to kick around the idea. I actually started even before the pandemic of opening up another location of this. But the pandemic sort of derailed that. So we still have ideas and plans for that. I wouldn't necessarily want to say where yet exactly, but we do have
just in case.
Yeah, we have a target in mind, and we've been aiming at that.
Awesome. So the future's bright for Strum.
I hope so. I think so. Yeah, I think so. I'd like to think that we're not only, you know, providing a space that's comfortable, but, you know, a lot of times folks will come in just with curiosity about certain things. You know, I'm building a pedal board. What do I need? Like, where do I start? Like, how does that work? You know, it's a lot of conversations with people, just helping them understand, like, what all this stuff means and what it does and what it is. And you're not going to get that at Musician's Friend or Sweetwater or Guitar Center, unless you get lucky and you find the right guy working there. But
Yeah.
usually they're just, they're punching the clock, and they want you to just, hustle in and hustle out, get whatever you need and get out. But we're battling against that.